Andrew over at Maple Leaf Customs is celebrating the 4th anniversary of his YouTube channel, and he's inviting the community to do a Porsche build along with him again this year. I'm honored to say I've participated the past 3 years, and I'm taking part again this year. For this year's build, I chose this Corgi Juniors Porsche 917 casting. As you can see, it's not in terrible shape. Fortunately, the glass is good. Metal body, metal base. Plastic center portion that has the driver's compartment and the engine. And again, the glass was in good shape. It's a small piece of glass. There you see the Corgi Junior suspension that you've seen in other Corgi builds I've done. It's a matter of sliding those, basically that's the suspension wires on both sides out of the way. I chose to do that. Some people just pull the axles out around them or various ways of getting it out. But I chose to slide the wires out of there to get those wheels out. Here you see at this point the body is stripped. It has 2 small posts at the front and back. For that I used the 172 screws, and I drill it and tap it for this. Those posts are... the 172 is small, and you really realize it when you're drilling and tapping these things. It's really cool to do these Porsche builds each year for Andrew's anniversary. And part of the celebration is that you pay it forward. And I've already decided where this car is going. And actually, as I'm recording this video, it's on its way. So hopefully it'll be there quickly. And who knows? Maybe it'll arrive at its destination before this video is even up. Here you see me pulling those wires out, and they can be a little tough at times, and it takes a little persistence to get them out of there. There you see I had to push the end with a flat blade screwdriver to get them out. I prefer this way of doing it as opposed to pulling the axles, just raising the wires and pulling the axles out, because it's really easy to bend those suspension wires. And then you kind of lose the springiness. It loses what it's there to do. So, I drilled it and tapped it and put the screws in it. But then when I was going to file this and clean it up, as you see here, I thought, well, part of that base is actually the lower portion of the sides that you see. So I better file it with these in place. I wanted to get the best fit there that I could. And I almost screwed that up. If I had done them separately, I don't think it would have fit together as well as it does in the end, as you'll see. The 917 is such a cool Porsche. And as you'll find out how it comes to bite me in the butt later, I was running on the assumption that this was a 1/64th scale casting. No reason to think it wasn't. But like a lot of these castings, it's like, well, how true are they to that scale? I don't know that Corgi ever says that it's 1/64th. And it's like a lot of the Hot Wheels, at least Matchbox, a lot of times on them, they'll say what the actual scale is. And if you really look, a lot of times it's not 1/64th. But we kind of assume it. And I kind of assumed it on this one. But that being said, as you can see, I'm cleaning up some of the areas on the body. The Corgi castings, a lot of times, are just really nice castings. I don't think they get all the credit they deserve for producing some really fine-looking castings. This being one of them. I love the looks of this car. The detail on it is really nice. They did a really good job with it. And whoever had it before me didn't beat the hell out of it. It was a little play-worn, but nothing terrible. So cleaned up the body a little bit And, it's looking pretty sharp at this point. Ah, yes, it's time for the IPA. As I mentioned before, those sides, the base has the sides of the car. And so I do have to paint the sides of the base to match the upper body of the car. I'm doing this, I don't think I mentioned it yet, in the 24 Hour of Le Mans winning 1970 livery for Porsche. And I've always liked the looks of that car. I hit it with the color shot stiletto red. Once the decals are on, I hit it with the clear sealer that you see there, both color shot sprays. I did make up some headlight decals. I didn't just want them to be white or gray, so I made up some decals for that. There you see the body after it's been painted. That stiletto is a gloss red. And so the headlight decals needed to go on before the decal set that I purchased with, again, that 1970 livery. That set, it's an excellent set of decals that I purchased for this. And I have absolutely no doubt that they are in an accurate 1/64th scale. But like I mentioned, I think this is slightly larger than 1/64th. And, that, let's just say the headlights look good, right? So now I'm starting to put the decal set on. And there you see the white trim around the headlights. And I'm getting my first inklings that there may be some problems here. And the real telling thing to me was the stripes. On the 70 livery, there's these white stripes that trickle their way back to the back end of the car. And these were coming up very short. So I had to make an executive decision. So I decided to put them on and let them flow back as they would. And there you see how they flowed back on their own. You notice on the left-hand side, they're shorter than the right. That's because those were attached to the 23 that's back there. So, yeah, I was pointing with my thumb there to some of the shortage. I don't know if you can see it here, but what I did is I printed some white toner stripes, very thin white stripes, and used those to fill in the gaps. That was very frustrating to do. I even ended up tapering some of those with scissors. All of that is done off camera, as you may have gathered, because you're not seeing me do that. I filled in the gaps. I created longer tapers for what I needed. I did not take it all the way to the back of the car, like on the actual car. That would have involved even more work. It's hard to explain how I approached it, but I filled in gaps. If you look closely, you can see it on the finished car, which kind of bothers me a little bit. There you see it after the decals are on and after the clear coat at this point to protect the decals. And I am adding some detail to it. I did add some other detail. There you see the taillights. I put down the silver Sharpie, and then I go over that with the Tamiya red clear. Not that you can really see it from the paint unless you look exceptionally closely. But I know I did it. And I guess the person that gets the car, if they look really closely, will see it. And I'm sure they'll be able to see the little decal patches that I made. But it was interesting. And it was oddly fun, if that makes sense, to like try and find a way to overcome that challenge of the problem with the decal set. And it kind of makes me think of one of the things, Gauzy, I better work that in. One of the things I truly appreciate about Andrew's channel, Maple Leaf Customs, whose anniversary we're celebrating, is he really shows the joy in doing these things. And that's really, you've heard me say probably a million times, if you're not having fun doing this, it's what it's all about. And you should be having fun doing this. And even doing the problem with these silly little decals, it was fun trying to address the problem and trying to get it to work. And hopefully still kind of look okay. I think it's really easy to get wrapped up when something goes wrong and just be upset about it. And that's not really, my approach to it. And then that's one of the things I truly enjoy about Andrew's channel too, is it's a lot of fun. It's about the fun that's to be had in doing these things. And here you see me sliding the suspension back in, and I'll throw the front tires on there. I think off camera I slide the suspension further forward and then throw the backs on. And I think you see it once the backs are on here in a second. But anyhow, these little castings throw so many challenges our way. And it's like the Porsche on the sides, on the bottom of the sides. That white stripe didn't go all the way to both ends, so I had to make little patches to lengthen those. And it's just interesting in addressing tiny problems and having fun doing it and celebrating the small victories. Because everything on these little cars is small. Including the victories. But here you see it going back together. One thing about the Corgi, it's like none of these pieces are like indexed together really. It's like the glass just kind of sits there but I mean, this is an old casting. It's a great casting though. I really enjoyed doing this thing. So there you see me putting it, putting it together. Those tiny little 172 screws. And I did detail the engine as you see in the back there. That's the plastic engine. I used a couple shades of silver when I was doing that and some washes to get that color I wanted. Some of the detail is kind of hidden in the back but that's, again, part of the fun doing it too, is you end up throwing detail in there and then you realize later that it's like, oh yeah, it won't get seen. But so it's not a perfect rendition of the 1970 Le Mans winning Porsche 917. But in my eyes, it's pretty damn close. So there you see the original casting we started off with. And you can see it's not in bad shape. And in a moment here, you're going to see the finished build and some glamour shots. At this moment, I'd like to thank Andrew. I'd like to wish him a happy 4th anniversary for his channel. Thanks for having this event every year. It's a blast. And thank you for the channel that you provide us with. And there's a lot of people participating in this build. Be sure and check them all out. I can't wait to see the cars that are being made. I hope you like this one. If you look closely, you can see the little decal patches. Like the headlights, I'm happy with how the headlights turned out. Those are made to spec. But Andrew will be doing a recap video on his channel. Again, that's Maple Leaf Customs on YouTube. And there will be a link to his channel in the description for this video. Check him out. If you haven't already, be sure and go over there. And he does a lot of fantastic builds. A lot of cool stuff. So, and the recap video will lead you to a lot of other people that produce these little things. Thanks again for watching these videos, all of your support for my channel. I truly appreciate it. And hope you like how this one turned out. Everybody stay safe and healthy out there. And I'll catch you in the next one.